Why, hello, it is I, Chris Brogan, and welcome to this, your brief for Tuesday, the 24th of October, 2017. This is a show where I take ideas and stories and information that I've found somewhere out on the web, and I share it with you with some sort of thought or insights on how this might be used to drive better human interaction in some part of your business or life. If you want to follow along, you can always do that. Swing by chrisbrogan.com/cbm, and you can check out all the stories for yourself. All the links are there and everything like that, so you don't necessarily have to take my take on it. You can click through and look at all this stuff all on your very own. If you want to make a cool Facebook Live show of any kind, not even just a news show, you can do this using Ecamm Live. It's the best way to do Facebook Live for Mac. It's the cool thing. It's so fun and so easy to use, and it does a great job of making this an easier presentation and production to put together. First story for you, it tends almost always lately to be a blockchain or cryptocurrency type story. Bing! MasterCard announces that payments can now be made on blockchain. Not unlike other stories I reported yesterday and the day before, even though blockchain is the underlying technology of Bitcoin, it's something different. And one of the points is that MasterCard is saying we embrace blockchain technology. There's a lot of cool opportunities. Your credit card might soon be getting a blockchain kind of underbelly to it, because this way it can really help put the information in a distributed format and make it easier to move. So this is really definitely worth it. What you definitely want to say is that you want to take a look at this particular post, because it's going to give you all kinds of information and help you follow through with it. And hello to Raul, and hello to Daniela. Happy to see you. So that's interesting that you can start doing payments through blockchain. There's some interesting side notes to this, because it means that it opens up the platform for some other opportunities as well. You now have the opportunity to take payments from other places and other people. This is strange, and you wouldn't necessarily figure out why, but in lieu of things like crowdfunding sites, crowdsourcing sites, you could have somebody pitch in on your payment of something if you wanted with that technology. So I think that's kind of interesting. Segue into another payment technology conversation. Pay with Google is now out there. It is a digital wallet, they're calling it, for online shopping. But you can now find this on millions of sites, and the opportunities. You can put this on your site as well. If you're not continuously looking for alternative payment methods, you should. There's a big thing that just came out where Venmo is becoming a lot more distributed. A lot more people are using it. And so there are a lot of online stores that now have a Pay with Venmo button, and which is odd because I believe Venmo was purchased by PayPal, and there's already been Pay with PayPal buttons for years. But again, this Pay with Google is another opportunity to look at that. And there's a lot of people who trust Google more than they trust other platforms. So again, anytime I find you an alternative payment method, it's always worth checking out. And like I said at the very beginning, you don't have to believe me. You don't have to look at my take on it or my insight. You can go to chrisbrogan.com/cbm, and all the stories are right there for you. chrisbrogan.com/cbm. I couldn't be happier that Mitch Jackson is here. Mitch, stick around. Not this story, but the next story. I'm sure you'll have something to say about it. Next story, speaking of one more interesting blockchain usage, you can see that Broadcast and Cable Adventure is looking to use blockchain. What they're saying is that they want to use blockchain technology for a premium ad platform, and also for handling customer data in a better way. And so this is my next to last of my blockchain stories, but worth checking out because it's interesting to see all the various use cases coming out for this platform. I cut this story just a tiny little bit short because I have one of the world's most foremost lawyers, one of the people at the forefront of streaming and several other technologies, Mitch Jackson. Mitch and others, take a look at this piece of news. Evidently, you can settle a lot of low-end disputes now using blockchain technology. Jury.online wants to replace lawyers with blockchain technology. Not exactly with blockchain, because the blockchain is just the underlying pins of it, so the article is not exactly written accurately. But what they're saying is this is an opportunity where you can spend some small amount of money to work on contract disputes and that sort of a thing. So in the old days, it wouldn't have been worth paying a couple of lawyers to settle over something for a $1,000 dispute. But in the average case on Jury.online, it might cost as much as $100 to $200. And everything is done through the blockchain so that everyone sees what's gone on. All of the information is shared out there in a distributed format. So this Jury.online is a way to handle dispute kind of stuff. I don't think it's fair to say that this is a blockchain story per se. It's more like saying it's an Airbnb kind of story. Airbnb isn't the same as a hotel. This jury.online is not the same as all the different reasons you're going to want to use the lawyer. But I found it very interesting. And just by total random happenstance, Mitch Jackson's here, so maybe he can weigh in. He says, it's looked interesting. I'm glad I stopped by. I love it. You know, the thing is, Mitch and other lawyers, Mitch works on some of the biggest cases, hundreds of millions of dollars kind of cases, and very expensive, important cases where there's somebody who's really been wronged or treated in a very bad way, and Mitch does whatever he can to bring justice to bear on this. That's what Mitch does. He doesn't want to do a contract dispute law anyway, and for the matter of it only costing a couple $1,000 or something like that, that's not worth it. Not like he's above those kinds of things, but he wants to work on the kinds of projects that are going to help larger groups of people and that sort of a thing. And so that's important. Hey, I'm going to do a test right now. I've just switched to a different microphone. Does it sound better? Worse? Good? Bad? Let me know. So in the land of three different interesting trends linking together at the same time, Mark Cuban has backed a cryptocurrency company called Unicorn, missing a bunch of vowels because why wouldn't it? And this whole concept is that it's a cryptocurrency that allows you to gamble on esports. So cryptocurrency, online gambling on sports. Who knew? Hey, thanks, Clinton. I appreciate that. Good to know. This microphone that I ended up picking up, I use the Blue Yeti, but this guy is the Blue Snowflake. So I wanted to try that out and see if that made a slightly better sound. Oh, sorry, Naz. Sorry to hear about smog. It's really interesting. I was just reading a report about how smog is just really wrecking places and how many millions of deaths are coming from smog right now. So I feel for you. So I'm going to put one quick comment up here on the screen just to point it out. Mitch says, tech is the future. You've got to embrace it, right? Absolutely, no question about it. That's why I'm doing some of this show. However, every now and again, I make fun of certain technologies, and I grumpily say that this is not going to be a thing, it never will be a thing, and we should just throw it in the garbage already. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm right to a few people. Evidently, I'm right to a few 100,000 people, because that's how many unsold spectacles Snap reports that it has clogging up their warehouses. No one cares about them, and evidently no one wants a Snap drone either. Who knew? So I have been sort of anti-Snap for so long, and this is to me just another opportunity to poke at them. Hey, Dove, good to see you. So my man DG has just shown up, and he's asked me the question, what are you using for this incredible broadcast technology? This is Ecamm Live. It's the best way to do Facebook Live on a Mac. These guys, I accidentally put your comment up like a bunch of times. This is the best way to do Facebook Live for a Mac, at least. This software is made by friends of mine. Ken lives down the street over here somewhere, and his brother works on it. And it is such a cool platform. These are the same people who do Call Recorder for Skype. And this platform, I've worked with them over the last few months because I just want to get more people using it. We've seen so many cool live video platforms come and go. But this one is just, it's blowing my mind how fun it is, how lightweight it is, how inexpensive it is. And so that's why I sell it. It is only for Mac. These guys work very specifically on Mac. We all know that the future is technology. There's all kinds of new tech coming all the time. And we all know that we're supposed to be teaching everybody how to code, including kids. Ever since it launched, Minecraft had a little bit of code snuck in there, so you could do a little bit of code teaching with kids, and kids really got into it. Microsoft has pushed that a lot further, of course, because of their ownership of Minecraft. Make code for Minecraft makes learning code super fun. So what they've done is they've sort of taken the aesthetics of Minecraft, and they've done all kinds of research and added in some parts so that they can do all kinds of very robust coding inside of Minecraft, but then give you back output that will be kind of fun in-world. Who hasn't ever wanted to generate a sprawling fountain of chickens, that kind of a thing. So it may or may not be your cup of tea. You may or may not immediately get it, but kids who play Minecraft will totally get it. And what's fun about it is that one of the biggest problems with teaching coding is that coding is such an abstract thing. So there's, I reported a few weeks back on a robot that you could code. I reported on an app that you could code, and that there's a robot on your phone kind of app. And so there are lots and lots and lots of different opportunities. So the Minecraft one, I think, is pretty fun for that purpose. And I think there's a good further opportunity to take a look at that. In plant-based news today, the guy who brought us not only Slim Jims, but Lunchables is now launching a plant-based meat substitute. So he's going to do a bunch of plant-based meats, and he's into it. This has been announced at the Concordia conference. There's all kinds of stuff. This is as the global population is going to head as far as 9.8 billion by 2050, protein is one of the biggest problems going on. So there's a huge, huge issue in how we're going to get protein. There's a few different scenarios at play. One of them is that we're going to do lab-based meats. Another is that we're going to come up with ways to make our already strangely chemicalized animals bigger so that we can make even more protein out of them. But plant-based is really rising up because there's a lot of opportunities to deliver far more yield, far more grams of protein per hectare of build. And so what this means is that as our planet becomes unable to sustain the amount of creatures it would take to bring plant-based, to bring protein to our typical diet, plants are going to step in. So vegan stuff might seem like hippie stuff now. It's just going to be the norm at some point. Plants, insects, cricket-based protein powder is already out on the market through Exo and other companies. There's nothing protein is the biggest crisis in the food world in the next several years. And so keep an eye on that as far as trends go. Speaking about trends and or sometimes the opposite of trends, the co-founder of Subway said, we're having a really bad time with our restaurant right now. Sales are plummeting. We're having a really bad time. He says, why don't we open some more stores and some more chains and some different ideas and see if that can kind of bring it out. In the idea of Subway not quite working out, the co-founder said, well, let's try all different kinds of things. Let's bring all kinds of other platforms to market and see what comes of it. Meanwhile, he may or may not be right, but it seems weird. We're losing. Let's lose even more, spread out across more concepts. That might be a way to do it. The remainder of the corporation, the official rules of what Subway is going to do next, wait for it. We're going to make our stores look prettier. It's clearly the storefront. It's a storefront problem. If we made prettier stores, more people would come in. This blows my mind that this is the storyline. That's weird. That's not popping up. Okay, here we go. So everyone here has probably booked a hotel online. It's not awful, but it's not pleasant either. But evidently, using Slack, you are soon going to be able to book your hotel room with an emoji. Now, this story is a little bit misguided. It's not really necessarily specifically an emoji, but here's what you do. You log into Slack, and you say what your dates are and everything that you want to do. And you basically say, / Marriott Rewards, Silicon Valley, California, 7-1 to 7-2. And Marriott Rewards says, let me take a look. And it gives you a couple of votes. Then you can then vote on it, and you book based on that thumbs up. So it's not exactly booking with an emoji. That's just the last step of it. But it's kind of an interesting process. Why I think it's interesting, one, is that it's using Slack. It tells you a couple things. It says that Marriott is saying so many business people are using Slack. We're going to develop for that platform. You should pay attention to that. Two, hey, wow, even websites built specifically for one task like booking hotels, not good enough for us anymore. We want it even faster, even more mobile. That's trend number 2 to look at. Trend number 3 to look at is the fact that emojis and things like that are being brought in more and more as conversational tools and technologies. So to me, it's going to be a very important deal. Naz asked the question, I wonder if a bot responds in automatic in Slack for that. I'm going to say this is probably bot driven because, you can't imagine there's a whole bunch of people standing by to make the reservations. And the software already exists to do hotel reservations. This is just the sort of last mile of it. Last story of the day is almost always just sort of nerd, tech, fun culture. If you were like me and you saw Star Wars The Force Awakens and you saw the first glimpses of Captain Phasma and you were like, ooh, who is that mighty silver beauty? And then you were really let down by the fact that there wasn't too much on screen about Captain Phasma and it wasn't a very interesting character. In fact, she kind of helped out the rebels in the end. Well, now you can get a book on it. So there is a new book by author Delilah Dawson. I knew I was going to mess her name up. That is strictly just titled, I think, Phasma. And in this book, we will learn the backstory and we will learn all of the information of who this character is and what that has to do with anything. So I will tell you that this is interesting. I intend to read this book only because I was so let down by that character. I thought she was not very interesting, and I think that, I hope this book does her justice. So that's the last story. I'm going to just check one more question here. Have I seen the new Blade Runner? I haven't, and I was a huge fan of the original Blade Runner. I saw it many, 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 many times. I wore out a DVD of it one time, which I didn't even know you could do. So I'm intending to go see it. I really like to see it. I saw some interesting articles saying that the audience didn't care for it because it was too smart for them. And I always find that a strange kind of reaction. So that's it. That's my news for the day. This is the brief. The whole idea is I take all kinds of information that I find from all over different parts of the web, and I gather it up for you, and I show you where or where not there might be some trend information that you might want to follow or consider for your own business. If it's not just fun to watch my beautiful head, you can always go to chrisbrogan.com/CBM and get all the stories and all the links for yourself. One last time, I built this thing using the best way to do Facebook Live for a Mac. It's called Ecamm Live. The link is right there, cbrogan.me/Ecamm Live. Check it out. Super inexpensive, super flexible, does all kinds of cool new stuff with this Ecamm Live beta that just came out, and that'll be rolling out to you in another week or so. Super fun stuff. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. Love you much. Catch you later. Drop me an email, chris@chrisbrogan.com. Catch you soon.